Hey everybody, it's good to see you all again. This segment is just to kind of let you guys know what is going on in this episode. So, in this episode, there is a situation. Towards the end, or anywhere in this episode, there is a blank. That means there's no sound coming in the episode, and you might think that is your fault. That is my fault. You can blame me, say it was my fault, because that is an editing problem, and that's because of recording and the recording platform that I use. If that happens to be in the episode, if that's in it, what you need to do is to just disregard it. Don't worry about it. Consider it like an ad break. Consider it like a break. Consider it like we're taking a 5 minute break. Consider it like that. So, no freaking out. No need to worry. Make sure you guys enjoy the episode, enjoy what's in it, and y'all have a good one. And enjoy this one. Really enjoy it and have fun. And please disregard the blanks in there. Consider them breaks. Hope you guys enjoy this episode and thank you guys for understanding and for your cooperation. Yep, found it. Yes, yes, yes. Just found it. It was lost in my files for a second. It was lost there. It's funny.
Yeah, no worries.
Nice. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. I'm here with Arc Zeus. He's an amazing musician, and I had so much fun listening to you over the weekend. How are you?
And how's it going? I'm doing great, and I'm glad to be here right now. Feel like we're gonna have fun talking today.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So much fun. And speaking of fun, firstly, what a major congrats because your brand new next album is coming this Friday, guys. Look at that. That's amazing.
Yeah, new album next Friday. It's called the Blue Album.
Ah, it's called the Blue Album. Now, why on earth would you go with, the Blue Album? Like, is it all about the color blue or something?
Funny enough, it doesn't necessarily follow any specific themes as far as like the color blue goes. It's just this is just what I chose to call it because I feel like overall, um, my energy, my aura, and how I go about expressing myself. It's very blue, to be honest. Not blue as in like sad, but blue as in like it's very intense. It's very fluid. You know what I mean? Like water, blue like water.
Oh, oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty powerful. You took another spin on the color blue. I mean, when people think about it, of course they're gonna think of the color blue and they're gonna think of sadness. But then you took a serious turn on it, like you're actually talking about the feeling, the deeper feeling and meaning of, blue, the strong, intense feeling that you have. I mean, wow.
Yeah, honestly, like, and I feel like it's a more, I feel like it's a better way to go about looking at the color when you associate it with different emotions and feelings because it's like it's really easy to quickly identify blue with sadness because of just like I said before, like the intensity that it brings out in a person. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like it's similar with the color red. You know what I mean? People are always gonna associate red with like fire and heat, and I feel like you can interpret that negatively or positively, but either way, like it's still overall the same like idea.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And since you're talking about the intenseness, like, have you felt like that in your personal life? Have you felt any intenseness that drove you to the album, or is this something that you chose to write about?
Um, I can definitely say like intensity is like second nature to my life at this point. It's only like in my more recent years as an adult, like a young adult growing up and whatnot, I'm able to I'm able to see more days and feel less intense as the days go by. Focusing on my inner peace and whatnot a lot better. But as far as like how it relates to the album, like the intensity and like just the overall energy of the color blue. This album in particular is the second installment to the trap series that I started this year with with my music. I decided to pretty much take what I've been doing and building with my overall identity and introduce it to different elements of like trap music that I feel like resonate with me as an artist, as a person, and pretty much just playing around with those sounds and just being really adventurous with it. And I feel like on an album like this one, the one that's coming out, I feel like calling it the Blue Album and immediately relating immediately relating what I already mentioned before about the color blue to it. This album for me, I find it bringing me back um in those spaces. Growing up when I was when I was just at the crib with living with my mom still, and feeling all those intense feelings, and going out, leaving my house, and still like bringing all those feelings with me everywhere I go. Um, so it's almost like I'm always finding my way back home. It's like a call back to home, and that's pretty much like what the album feels like to me. And even the cover art, I shot it right behind my old house in the projects.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. And I love how it's relatable to your personal life so people can really feel it.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I've always been pretty adamant about just being as authentic and as skeletal as possible with just shedding off every layer of myself to just get more and more closer to like my core being, and like expressing that, and like using my music to channel those feelings that like come from that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I could tell by that. I mean, I haven't listened to it, but I can definitely tell that you're showing your true self. You're bringing another side to yourself that we don't know yet.
Yeah, definitely. And like I feel like especially given that I say it's a call back to home, I feel like, everyone back home that grew up with me, like they can listen to something like this and like be able to understand like how like I like it's like they're gonna listen to this. It's like, yeah, he definitely would do something like this. It's like this makes sense because of how I'm brought up, and because of just how I express myself and whatnot. I feel like it's literally just the perfect testimony. It's it's real, it's real.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I could tell by the realness. I could definitely tell, especially around social media, how you're doing it. I mean, that's pretty impressive how you're going about it, making it big, especially with an additional achievement, which we are so excited for actually, because you have an anniversary this week actually, which is very exciting. And I found this out that December 5th, which I believe is today, is your seventh anniversary of your first album. Which congratulations! That is
Thank
incredible.
you. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. To even like, be alive on this day right now, like December 5th, 2021, like to say that like my first album, like the first the first time I was ever so brave enough and so bold enough to like share a genuine piece of my soul with the entire world. Like, um, I consider like because I consider that to be like it's a big deal for me. Like, that album, that was 2014. I was 15 years old when I dropped it, and I was a sophomore in high school. And that whole year, that entire school year, was just me. I spent literally like just almost every day after school, like just going straight to the Boys and Girls Club, because that's where I was recording my music at the time. There was a recording studio in the Boys and Girls Club, so that's why I spent most of my time just listening to different beats, writing. This was when I was still physically writing lyrics at the time, so just whether it be in my phone or on a notebook, just writing and coming up with just different ideas, and like trying to really be as in tune with my imagination as possible, and like kind of bridging the gap between my imagination and my reality, and letting them coexist.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And just to have that writing ability at 15, I mean, that's pretty impressive to have that ability to make such a personal album, but also, make it within so people feel it at 15. I mean, some people are just starting their career at 15. I mean, pretty impressive that you had that at 15. That's really incredible that you have that.
I'm grateful for it every single day. Like, every single day that goes by where I don't like just thank myself for even like and just thank any higher powers above me that for like even having that ability to do something like that immediately going into it, because like that's like that year that album came out was the same year that I also started making music, like taking music seriously. Like I was never like doing this. I was never even doing it as a hobby. Even like I was barely doing it at all. I was always writing, but I never like got into rapping and making music overall up until like my mentor. Her name is Kay. She's also an amazing rapper. She's the reason why I decided to take this seriously, because like she saw it in me before even I did. Like she saw it in me before I did. That like that confidence and that like just she it's like she forced it's like she was able to really see where I am now, and to be where I am now. Like I'm always grateful for her. I'm always grateful for just like the universe for even bringing her into my life and inspiring me to just be pretty much the person that I am today. Because it's like with me not being Zeus, like it's not like a downplay to my quote unquote real self or anything like that. But like I feel like me becoming Zeus and just embodying what I do as an artist and just continuing to stay true to that for so much time now. At this point, I feel like
Oh yeah, absolutely. And props to her for believing in you. I mean, she obviously knew that you could do it. I mean, it might be funny, but I kind of thought, and it probably is she could have really went into the future and saw that you were to be successful. And and she knew it. She knew it. Like that's very like to me that's very beautiful the way that she did that, and the way that she believed in you. I mean, that's really incredible. It's really incredible. And maybe one day I get to meet her. I mean, that kind of person I want to be around. Oh,
oh yeah, for sure. She's a fun person to be around, man. Like I definitely got to visit her soon. It's been a while.
absolutely. Do you guys still keep in touch? Like, are you guys still, you
Oh yeah,
guys still?
definitely. We're still very close. We still keep in touch. She's older than me by a few years. I'm pretty sure it's like 3 or 4 years. So, she's definitely more of an adult than I am. So we both got our own adult lives to be living, but we definitely we make sure that we remember each other.
That's very, very good. That's very good. And wow, 7 years ago. That's pretty impressive. So how do you exactly feel about, the 7 year, and how do you exactly feel about this whole progress that you have? How do you feel about it? Because 7 years has went by. I mean, how do you feel about this progress that you made?
I am I'm very like I'm not necessarily surprised. It's just more or less like I'm just overwhelmed with just how good it feels, because it's like I always knew. Part of me always knew that like I could become what I am now. It's just I didn't know what it was gonna take. I didn't know like what my journey like had ahead. I didn't know what light ahead, like what my journey was. Like all I saw was the light like beyond the fog, but I didn't know what was in the fog. And like I've spent all these years just going through that, and like basically still am, but to even to for the light to be so much brighter than it was when I started is very it's very like inspiring, and like it keeps me going, honestly. Like like there's so many things that like I feel like just it drives me to just literally continue on with how I go about doing what I do, because like the ideas I've stayed true to all of them, but I've only gotten mature and just overall better at how going about executing these ideas. Because literally, like you go back to my first album, like there's a handful of records, like you just like if you were to sift through the lyrics, like a lot of the topics and just how I go about like delivering certain concepts on that album, like I definitely scratched the surface on that album. But as these 7 years went by, album after album, like it was no longer like me scratching the surface with these ideas anymore. These ideas were becoming more fleshed out, more profound, and like just overall just better. And I love it. I can't even believe it. Like I'm 7 years in. I'm dropping my seventh album this Friday. It feels great.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing to see how much you've grown. I mean that's amazing. And I kind of want to look back on that for a sec, like at that whole and like how did you exactly feel when you were putting out that first album? How were you feeling at the time?
I remember being it was like a very awkward mix between a slightly nervous, but for the most part, I was very like just ready to like share it because like for me, what I've noticed with the way I went about expressing myself back then, um, I was very confident in my art because especially with my mind being so much younger back then, I genuinely felt like that was like all I had for myself, like to really show the universe like and everyone in it like why I matter. And you know, I thank my young self for even having that urgency, because there was a bit nervousness that you feel the nervousness every now and then when in those moments, but like then you also remember in those moments you're nervous exactly why like why I wanted to do it. I remember I was thinking to myself, I remember exactly why I wanted to put this out, and it just gave me so much more confidence to like click that upload button. You know what I mean? And you know, in a matter of moments, it was out, and I to this day, it still gets streams every single day on SoundCloud. It blows my mind to think that like, that album like at this point in time like is still holding up and still it still has an audience because like at this point 7 years in I know exactly like outside of people who you know went back to do their homework after they discovered like something more recent like I know like the main audience of people who like gravitate towards that album the most and especially because it was like back then when the SoundCloud era was a little bit more like more fresh. Um, it definitely like hits home to, and hits that like SoundCloud frequency. You know what I mean? Like if it were if this album were to not exist anywhere else, but and it were to only exist in one place, like it would have to be like SoundCloud that it stays existing because like that's its audience. Like a lot of younger peers like they tell me like how much they love that album and how much it speaks to them given how young I was when I made it and like a lot of people who just start out with this music thing like they tell me the same thing like they love to hear like how I sounded when I first started compared to how I sound now because it like it inspires them to like it inspires them because they they gain a bit of perspective on just how much of a journey this shit really is and like how far you can go and I'm still going like me as far as I've gone it's not even the furthest I can go and like I feel like when people listen to my first album after being introduced to me, like they that becomes so much more apparent. It becomes so much more apparent, and I love that. So that's pretty much what I was pretty much foreseeing all this in the midst of me getting nervous about dropping it, and then that immediately just flipped the switch and made me like just more confident than I was before I got nervous and like nah like I need to do this. The universe needs this, and I I still I'm still proud of it. It's still a very solid body of work, and the ideas, the content that makes up that album, like I never I never strayed away from fleshing those ideas out. They've only gotten better over time.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And you did get better. Just look at you. Just look at that. Just look at
Yeah.
that. And that first album, and actually this next coming album, both actually, were they like expected, like you knew like they were gonna come out, or was it a surprise?
Yeah, I knew they were gonna come out. Like, when it came, because me, like, literally, that's the thing. Like, when I started taking this music thing seriously, like the amount of ideas that kept like brewing up in my head, I realized I was like, I have to put this all on a body of work. Like I have to like actually start to lay the foundation down for all these ideas. And the only way I saw it making sense for me to do that, like early on and starting out, was for me to literally just try to flesh it out in a body of work. So it's like my first year of music, I literally created my very first album as well. And a lot of people, when they do get into music, that's not always their main goal, you know what I mean? But that was like my main goal when I first started. Like I was like, I want to make this album. Like I want to like bring this idea to the world. And yeah, it was all according to plan. Everything was written for me. Every album that I've dropped was with intention, and it was every single one of them I plan to make and I plan to release. Um, and I feel like it's probably going to always be like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely 100%. Definitely. And I love that you knew they were gonna come out. And right after you released the first one, like what happened after that? Like, did you start working on the next one or you just took a break? Like, what happened after the first one?
So after the first album dropped, it was like a couple of weeks before, yeah, it was like a week and a half before winter break had begun. So I basically did undergo like a small break, but it wasn't necessarily anything intentional because by the time school opened back up, which was like the first week of January, um, I was going right back to the studio as if I didn't even just put so much energy and effort into an album, and like it was for me, it was actually kind of funny to me, the way the album went, like the reception of the album. I kind of like the way the album was received from when it first dropped to now, like because I feel like with that album, it was with the content on that album, and the styles that I was going for on that album. I feel like it was very there was no desire to attempt to connect with others other than myself. um and that can be a good and bad thing depending on how you go about making your music. But for a person like me, it wasn't a bad thing, and it never has been, because I've always considered myself to be my first audience before anybody else in the first place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I make this for myself. And with the way the album was being received, it was gaining more traction online than it was locally. And um and around that time as well, like, going into like early 2015, I didn't start my next album until, I want to say, mid-February. So the first album was December 2014. So by mid-February 2015, I started, like, putting together the ideas to make the second album. And with like as far as breaks go, like, considering the fact that that was like when I had first started, I didn't really want to undergo any breaks that I like, unless I had to take one. You know what I mean? And like the only times that I had to take breaks was when I would get in trouble with my mom, and she would take away my privilege to go to the studio. You know what I mean? So it's like the only breaks I took were the breaks that I were forced to take, because I was very adamant on just continuing to practice and and really sharpen my precision with just everything that I do, with my writing, with like my concepts, with ideas. And then also, like, I also started getting into making beats that same year, a few months later. And um that contributed to me working on the second album, because on the second album, that's when I started releasing production of my own. And it was a very
Mm.
interesting feeling. It was a very interesting feeling overall, because like I feel like looking back, I definitely was so much in my shell as a person and as an artist. Um, and I feel like that translates heavily when you listen to my first two albums. That I like that I really was disconnected despite me being so hyper aware. It was a very interesting it was a very interesting like conflict internal, and it was a very interesting internal and external conflict that I feel like translates a lot more clearer now, like listening back to those two bodies of work. Um, because ever since the those two albums, I feel like my entire world my entire world changed. So I became a different person. I became a different artist. Everything just changed ever since like I finished my second album. Um, and
Oh,
it's crazy to think that like it's crazy to think that like even though everything did change ever since that era, like I was also still the same at the very same time. Like I still stayed true to everything that you know, what made me basically. You know what I mean? Like I stayed true to the foundation.
absolutely, absolutely. And you stay true to yourself no matter what. I absolutely am fond of that, actually. That's really, really good. That's really excellent.
I
And I
appreciate it.
love how you did it maturely. Like you did appropriate mature between both albums. Like you were 15 and now you're like 22, 23, and you mature so well. That's very good.
Thank you. I'm glad you recognize that for sure. Because yeah, that's 7 years. That's a big gap, and that's almost 10. You know what I mean? That's almost a whole decade, and to be going into another decade in the midst of that span of me starting out and to where I am now, it also I feel like it's also very interesting to me because like while staying true to like where it all started, I feel like all the shifts that I ended up going through in the last 7 years only helped me um gain even more like of a connection and just overall insight on my own ideas like myself pretty much, you know what I mean, like, and that's why I love the parallel between it being 7 years since my first album and I'm dropping my seventh album this week, um like same and like the same week span of when I did drop my first album as well. um I love how that works because it literally all comes full circle, given what I was explaining to you before, how on the Blue album that's coming out, it's all a call back to home.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I felt that too. I definitely feel that. Um, I definitely felt that a lot when you were talking about both albums. I had a feeling, you know, I really did feel inside of how much you've grown and look at you now, like I feel very proud.
I appreciate it. Like I feel like I feel like sometimes that's all it really takes to understand just the will, like, because you know right now like us having this conversation, I feel like you know there's definitely so much more to dig deeper, like to dig deep through, like once you get deeper into my music of course, but like to be able to have this conversation and just get like so much of it on the surface by like you know like getting you know it from me directly. I feel like there's such a strong connection in doing something like that because like you gave me a chance to you know you gave me a chance to give you a reason to hear me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely loved your previous work. I mean, it's amazing, it's incredible. And another thing that was drawn, just to add, this edition specifically a single actually. Your latest one, um, I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I was just listening to it earlier. Oh,
Oh, which one was it? Because
Butterfly
it was.
Trap. It was
Oh yeah,
Butterfly Trap.
Yeah, that was the that was the album from a couple of months ago.
Oh, oh, what do you mean? I don't feel a couple months. Oh, you talk about EP? Are you talking about like an EP or something?
Oh no, no, no! Like it was an album. It's 8 songs. It's called Butterfly Trap. I dropped that in September.
Oh,
If you're talking about my most recent single, you're talking about the one that had 2 songs, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah, that's the one I meant. Those two songs. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, yeah. I dropped that I think like last week or something like that, somewhere around there. That's when I dropped it. Those single those this the those 2 songs I decided to just release as like as a single for this coming album. Because only, but the main reason why I even decided to do 2 songs as one single for this rollout was because the gap between Butterfly Trap and this album was bigger than I intended it to be. Um, by the time Butterfly Trap had come out, I had like recently just finally like moved into my house after like being homeless for a few months, and I just spent like most of the fall pretty much just adjusting to the fact that like I got a home now, I got a job now, and I've just been kind of like more focused on prioritizing that to make sure I stay on my feet while still trying to like work on music whenever I have the time and energy to. Um, and it definitely that definitely resonates when you think about that and like you go into like just following the journey with like the newer music because like even if I'm not directly saying those exact words or like talking literally about like certain things that I've been going through in the time span that I was working on those songs, like it still felt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I could tell that it felt. I mean, if what was really cool is that it emanated a actual photo on the cover. Actually of that song and the Butterfly Trap too. It emanated a real photo showing that you're opening up. That was really good.
Yeah, and I'm honestly really glad that you said that because I feel like one of the one of the first few one of the first major differences um from like previous from my previous works to like my recent works is the fact that like I am incorporating like my actual self in art a lot more. Oh yeah, it's right there. I bet. But me incorporating my actual self into the visuals of the music because like I feel like in a very beautiful way when you take into account just the whole butterflies identity and movement thing I've been doing since last year. And I'm revealing myself like literally in these covers and in these shoots. Um, I'm no, it's like I'm no longer hiding behind the art. I just am the art.
Mm.
Because that's not to say that like my previous works was me, was me furthering a facade of any sort. No, but more or less like me like as a human I was kind of just letting my art be like my shield to the world at times and in a good and bad way, you know what I mean? Because it's like I was saying earlier when I was talking about like my first 2 albums, I was very in my shell as a person and as an artist. So like I feel like with what I've been doing from last year to now, how I've just been revealing my actual self in these covers and whatnot, my shell's broken. You know what I mean? It's broken now, and I've been revealed. You know what I mean? The true me is revealed, and now I feel like I've been releasing my most authentic work yet ever since, as if I wasn't authentic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just yeah, absolutely. And sorry if I'm saying it too much. That's not my catchphrase. I just feel that a lot. Because I'm a songwriter and I've interviewed a lot of young musicians. So how you're going about albums and the way you are authentically. I'm thinking back to other times and also myself. So those are the times I felt too. So just so if you were wondering.
That's what some like. I'm glad that like we're able to relate.
Oh, yeah, what? What?
Oh, you didn't hear what I said. Sorry, I said I'm glad that you're able to relate.
Oh, yeah. It seems like you got a lot on your hands. I mean, were you talking to your girlfriend in the back? Was that your girlfriend in the back you were talking to?
Oh no, that was my roommate. He he was asking if that was my food that I left on the table, and it was.
Ah, okay. You don't have a love. You don't have a loved one. Okay. I
Oh, I do.
understand.
She just doesn't live with me.
Ah, okay. Okay. Now, crazy question. Why doesn't she?
She just doesn't get, you know, I mean, it's a matter of it's a matter of steps. I mean, this is my first house of my own, and she plans on moving out of her parents' house. Yeah, it is. Yeah, she plans on moving out on her own terms one of these days as well. And I feel like when she is in that world for herself, she we're gonna be able to find each other in a much more healthy and mature way over time rather than just rushing into that kind of thing.
Oh, okay, good. You guys are taking it like one step at a time. Yes, I understand that. Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, you're having a lot of fun where you are, so that's good. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I love it here, man. Very comfortable. It feels like home.
Oh, really? That's really wonderful.
Yeah, it's all I could
That's
ever ask for. Like honestly, because I'm usually these days I couldn't be happier to just be home. Like because you know when I was living with my parents, like it wasn't it wasn't really one of those things where I was just always wanting to be home or I always like was looking forward to going home. It was usually the opposite once I became like older and like started becoming like teenager, young adult type thing. Like because I wasn't able to really go outside as much as I wanted to. I wasn't really just able to be human as much as I wanted to. I was kind of just forced to just go to school and then go home. So the fact that I even had studio privileges at all was like a good gateway for me to kind of gain a bit of experience in the human world that I'm like so out of touch with just due to me being forced to stay inside all the time. So now that that seal is broken, like I've been in much better terms with them that grown up and whatnot. And for me to be in my own space, it's like it makes me feel like I can just comfortably be me, and I can bring that energy everywhere I go, even back to my old spaces because I'm still welcome there.
ah, excellent, excellent. And I love that it helped you. So the move was definitely beneficial and it was well needed.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad I got someplace to stay before it got cold out, man. Because I was just sleeping in the studio for a few months before I had this house. So
Oh my God, really?
yeah, I was homeless for a few months before I ended up getting this house. That's when I was working on Butterfly Trap. I was homeless when I was working on Butterfly Trap. I was just pretty much living at the studio.
Ah, that makes sense actually. But I'm glad that you're feeling good, that you're feeling great. And in the photos, actually, in the photos that you took on social media, is that like what your house looks like, or it's just you went to like a place to take photos?
Oh no, that was my house. Like, so that was one of the because and when I lived in the projects, I lived in two different houses, and that was one of them.
Oh, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. Pretty nice, actually. I kind of like it. Except, damn, man, look at you smoking there, guys. This is something you're not supposed to do. Look at that.
Hey, I love smoking. I was smoking earlier.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. I'll, be- I'll believe this. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Hey,
Nope.
it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm doing pretty darn well for an adamant smoker.
Hmm.
And for what it's worth, I still have pretty strong vocals as well, and I intend to keep them that way.
Oh yeah. No, no, that's pretty good. I just gotta admit though, that's pretty good. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
for sure.
Look at the dreads. Are those actually like real or those extensions?
Oh no, they're all real. Trust me. I've been growing my locks for 8 months. I said 8 months, 8 years.
Impressive. Usually when people have the dreads, I always believe that they're fake, and some of them are. Um, but it's nice. More authentic.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I got them literally the Sunday before I started high school.
nice. That's really good.
Yeah, so I was able to pretty much just grow with these, and they're never leaving me. Like I take good care of my hair. I get trims every now and then. I get a retwist every season or so, and I keep it clean.
That's very good. Props to
I'm actually
that.
probably gonna wash my hair tomorrow now that I think about it, or maybe just another condition. It's been getting cold. Oh my God! You please remember to moisturize your hair.
Yes, please do. Like, especially guys, if you live in Texas right now, it is starting to get 50, 40, and 60. Please make sure you do that. Everywhere, really.
Anywhere for sure, because I live up north. I live in Massachusetts.
Oh my God. Yeah, you really need to.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, exactly. So tomorrow, whether or not I wash my hair, I'm definitely conditioning it because, oh man,
Yeah.
the cold is the biggest thief out right now. The cold is robbing me of so much moisture that I naturally have, and it's annoying because I'm not the type of person that likes to, do too much to my hair because like I like to like just let it be because like that's usually when it's in its best state. So it's annoying when it gets to this time around and I gotta like do so much more just for it to be normal.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and I'm the same. I have to do that too, especially now that it's starting to get cold and I don't want it to look bad, especially I can't have it look bad. No. Like, I can't live with that. I mean, I can't do it. I can't do it. Anybody who can, I mean, I just can't. I have to do it.
The more power to
Absolutely.
people who can, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And earlier you mentioned like a trap series. Like what's up the trap series? Like um what is that exactly?
So to pretty much to break it down, I think the best way to break it down is to kind of attack it at the core a little bit. So we rewind a little bit to last year. I started the year with this series called Butterflies. Um, it was a series of demos. They were collaborative EPs between me and my producer, my best friend. His name is Owen. Um, him and I are the sole producers on the album that I dropped later that year in 2020, and pretty much the butterflies phases that we dropped three EPs in that time, and those were pretty much like us warming up and pretty much like creating the found laying down the foundation, pretty much almost like what I was talking about when I was mentioning my first album. It's like that's pretty much what we were doing with these EPs. Like we were laying down the foundation, and then by the time we started working on the actual album, everything just became fleshed out and beautiful and just perfect. And I'm pretty much taking that what I established with what I established with that is like I pretty much redefined my sound. Owen redefined his sound, and like together we pretty much just like together when we just join forces, we just create this sound that like is just very distinct. That it's something that him and I made together. You know what I mean? And that I translate to butterflies or like because that's the whole identity. That's that's what I consider myself. That's what my music sounds like to me, and and that's the energy that I exert. So. with this year coming around, I wanted to have a little bit of fun and decompress a little bit from, you know, from doing like, a deep cut of an album because the last album that I did drop, the one that I dropped in 2020 was called the Tensai 4, which my first album is called the Tensai like 1, and so the one that I dropped last year was the Tensai 4, and I wanted to pretty much kind of just decompress a little bit from making another making Tensai level like bodies of work and kind of just be a little bit more adventurous and just focus more on having fun with what I'm doing. So I took butterflies, my essential elements, everything that makes me like everything that characterizes me as an artist, like all of my traditional elements, whether it be certain flows or melodies or blah 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 blah. I take that and I combine it with my favorite elements of trap music, and then that forms butterfly trap, and it's pretty much just me forming a whole new sound for myself by combining the butterfly sound with elements of trap, and it's been fun. And so the album that's coming out this Friday is the second installment of this butterfly trap like series, and it's a really fun fusion. I plan on doing this with other genres as well, so I'm literally just like getting started by like bringing the butterfly to trap music. Like I'm going to be doing other genres as well in the near future.
Mm, that's amazing. Congrats on that series. Is it everywhere we can see it, or is it like a secret thing?
Well, I mean, as far as the first album is already out, Butterfly Trap. That's the first installment. So the second one is gonna be this Friday. There will definitely be a third one, um, but that's to be announced and blah blah blah. I'm still working on it, so people are definitely gonna have to wait a little bit for that one. But there will definitely be a third one. So it's looking like it's gonna be another trilogy, kind of like what I did last year with the Butterflies demos. Kind of just made a trilogy with those EPs. So I'm kind of doing the same thing with these albums this time around with the trap music. And once I'm done doing once I'm done with these trap albums, like that's not to say I'm gonna be done with trap music this time and third, but like my focus is going to shift to is going to be going elsewhere. Like I'm going to be focusing solely on like different genres that I've already kind of scratched the surface with, but kind of want to dive into a little bit more and kind of gain a much deeper connection with and with my sound.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I love that the series is there to help develop and improve. That's really fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. It's like in the midst of me just kind of redefining myself and like everything that makes me an artist. An even stronger way to like just do that is to just have fun and be more adventurous and just explore and experiment. And that's pretty much what I've been doing no less than with when you take into account the fact that I've literally only been dropping trap music this year, which is very exceptional to a person like me, considering the fact that like I've spent so much time um, perfecting, my core sound to not really be too not be too invested and enveloped in a different world of music and styles and culture even, um and kind of just kind of just show how the butterfly fits into it.
Oh, interesting, interesting. And are you really into butterflies, or does the butterfly represent something else?
It's a little bit of both, but mainly the butterfly representing something else. But I do love butterflies.
Oh, that is really good. That's fantastic. And what made you decide to make it a series anyway? Like, is it because of money, because of a record label? Like, what made you want to make this series?
Pretty much just feel like it was like the perfect way for me to like kind of redefine how I identify myself, honestly. I feel like I feel like I needed a better and more profound and overall just beautiful and poetic way to identify like what it is that I really am and who I am and how I do things and like why I do things. And I feel like all that can just literally just trace back to like what I portray as butterflies. And when I think about butterflies, other than the obvious, other than the obvious with what you would think about when you think of butterflies, when I relate it to an actual when I go about turning it into something other than what it literally is, I relate it to just any existential sensations that our body like feels, whether it be good or bad. And I feel like, those things can drive us and sometimes even take control of us. And that's where thing that's in moments like those, sometimes we get anxious, sometimes we get excited, we get nervous, whatever it may be, like, but those are the butterflies talking to your body when those moments, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how I love how you took the meaning, really, the real true meaning of butterflies, but also make it in a way of a series of so that it makes sense. That's genius.
I'm glad you think so. And I love it because it's like it's a whole journey. And I feel like each album that I make with the concept of butterflies in mind, it's like each one is a different metamorphosis because that's what butterflies do, they transform.
Oh yeah, and I love that too. It's like it's transformation because the whole life cycle of a butterfly. It's exactly like that. It's like almost like the album represents the transformation of yourself. It's a transformation and it marks growth and development.
Yes, definitely. Like definitely. That's exactly what it is. And I feel like that is like the best way to go about defining just me as an artist. I'm constantly transforming and I'm constantly just trying to find, the beauty beyond the fog because like I'm always talking about swamps and stuff like that, and that's because swamps are very murky and foggy, and it's all water, and um, me, I'm very in tune with with water. My big three in astrology are all water signs, and I like with that aside, I've just always had a great connection with like conceptualizing water, considering just how important it is to the earth. I mean, it makes up most of the earth and our bodies, you know what I mean? It has the ability to destroy and create. And word to Mick Jenkins, he's one of my favorite rappers of all time. The Waters is easily my favorite mixtape ever. And that mixtape actually dropped the same year that I took rap seriously and started making my own music. And, you know, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it actually came out on my mother's birthday that year too, August 12th. Um, so like I'm just heavily inspired and always conceptualizing water, and I feel like to describe my life as a swamp, it's a very poetic thing to do, um, because I've been you hear it and you feel it in my music. Like I've experienced pain, I've experienced different forms of struggle, different forms of just everything, every bit of life, good and bad, and in the end of it all, I always transform like a butterfly. You know what I mean? And it's like all the I'm always trapped in these cocoons while flowing through these swamps. But once I break out of them, I'm flying away. You know what I mean? And towards the light. And I feel like that's like that's just the best way to define me as an artist. So that's exactly why I kind of just stick with the whole butterflies identity. And it's a beautiful thing because I no one's ever took it as a gimmick. No one's ever taken it as such, and that honestly just makes me feel even more confident in it because it wasn't meant to be taken as such ever. Because it's like it is definitely something that I consider like an identity of mine, but I mean that for, like from the heart, not on some like an image. You know what I mean? This isn't an image. This is my identity. Like this is what I mean. This is what I mean, and what I want to portray when I'm talking about me being a butterfly. And like it's beautiful. Like I'm over here getting my face done, and what I mean. I'm getting my hair done every now and then, like, and using nice pieces of jewelry to really just emphasize like I like I can be beautiful too, as dark as a person I am, in regards to just what I've been through and my upbringing. Like I can still be beautiful as well, and that's what I represent when I put on that quote unquote edge. When I put on the butterfly identity, because it's never taken off. Like sure, I don't always go about, I don't always I'm not always like getting myself ready for a photo shoot. So obviously I'm not going to always look like how I look in a photo shoot. And that the same concept applies when you think about how I identify as a butterfly. Like this isn't just some artist gimmick thing. This is me. It's me. Like
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yes, I feel that 100%. And just by the way you were, and just by the way you were describing it, I mean, I definitely feel that most people will once they take a listen, they'll see it too.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the beauty of that is like it doesn't even have to be something that like even it's one of those things where because it's so authentic and because like it's something that you have to actually like give a genuine feel and listen for like it what even if like you leave even if you leave with an unsatisfied opinion on the matter, you still respect it because you know that it was real.
Mm. Oh yeah, oh yeah, and they'll see it too. I know they will, and I'll make sure they will.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's one thing that's one thing that that's one thing that I affirm with this whole butterflies thing. Like the world doesn't have a choice but to hear it at least once. Like in one way or another. Like I'm going to be heard. I'm going to be seen one way or another. And the universe is going to give me that. And if not, I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? And like there's nothing that can be done after the fact. Anything after that is just additional feelings that I didn't manifest, you know or did I?
What was that? That laugh sounds evil.
Evil? I'm not evil.
You the laugh. Come on, you know that it sounds evil. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, it was a nice it was like a little sinister laugh, just you know just me jokingly, just kind of just playing with your mind a little bit.
mhm, sure, we'll take that. We'll take it. Um, and we're excited for what you got for us later. I don't know if you sent the link, so I don't know if you sent the files over or not, but we're excited.
Yeah, man. I feel like I'm actually able to feel a lot more excited than like before, like when everything was still like coming into play. You know what I mean? Like I'm always feeling I usually always feel my best in the moments when I'm ready to just like actually like just release it to the world.
Oh, excellent. And speaking of into the world, I hope you sent those files over since you promised and mentioned it.
Sure, I did.
I'm serious, did you?
I'm pretty sure I did, but I got the laptop right here, so it wouldn't be a problem to sit over it now if you didn't get it.
Where'd you send it though?
I'm pretty
Like,
sure. Let's see, because when I confirmed the when I confirmed the date, like when, on the schedule thing, I think it was that, like, I think your email popped up in my email, and that's when I responded to it, or I guess I thought I did.
Let me see. I'll check. What is your email, by the way?
It's let's see. Oh wait, hold on a second. Oh, okay. See, I thought I did. I actually didn't. It was when you sent everybody the update that you came back, and I responded to that. But I thought I attached my files when I sent it, but I did not.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, but no worries.
Got
I could do that right now.
it. That's why I forgot to ask about it earlier, but I'm glad I remembered.
Yeah, better late than never for sure.
And that cannot be far. That cannot be any more true. 100%. But overall, though, this was actually fun. Actually, to be honest, just to be really, honest, like deep down, this was, just really good. I love somebody who is very, is very open and very authentic.
Yeah, and honestly, I enjoyed the conversation because I feel like, it was, I feel like with this, we were able to really just come to a genuine introduction of between one another. And I feel like we were able to take away a lot. And I feel like it's going to give a whole lot more meaning to the music when you dive deeper into it.
Oh yeah, you know it absolutely. And ever since I changed the format, it feels like I've gotten better knowing. So that's really amazing.
I do think so.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the old way of me was usually gonna just go off the list of questions, but I'm glad we were able to touch base on your album, which I'm still excited for. I'm so excited for the new album getting released on the 10th. I'm gonna make sure to release your interview before the 10th, just so it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna make sure I do. And you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was fun. And I felt like we touched on everything general. Make sure to check out his brand new album coming out on December 10th. Make sure to pre-save the link, pre-save, which is, I think he's on Insta, right? Is it on Instagram?
Yes, it is in all of my bios on any social media you can find me on.
Also, make sure to check out Arc Zeus. And if you're thinking of something I thought about earlier, I thought it was actually Arch, but it's Arc. um, that's why I made a mistake. I made a little dumb mistake. My bad. um,
It's all good. It's it's different.
oh yeah, absolutely. Any last words for the audience? Any last words you'd like to say to them?
Honestly, I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I did because this felt like a very like great phone call. Because me, I'm not one who talks much on the phone, but when I do, I actually like to have long conversations because the person I talk to on the phone the most is my father, since he doesn't live with me, and he loves to hear himself talk just as much as I love to hear myself talk. So we talk for hours, and it felt like one of those conversations where like we were just able to really just vibe and just go with the flow and like really gain so much insight just in the midst of us simply talking. And I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm really glad that I was able to do this with you today, man. It was a pleasure to be able to formally meet you through this conversation, pretty much. And you have a wonderful personality, and I can already tell this won't be our last conversation, whether it be through voice or through messaging. I can already tell, and I'm grateful to be having this conversation, and you know I hope you feel the same. I hope the audience feels the same. And new album this Friday.
Oh, thanks. You're so sweet. Isn't he so sweet, y'all? He's so sweet. Aw. I can see why you I can see why you have a pretty steady girlfriend.
Yeah, I've been around for 6 months.
That is, wow, 6 months?
Yeah, a year and 6 months. Yep.
A year and six. Wow. You are nearing, wow, that means that your anniversary will be in June. Is that right? Is that right? 6 months?
Oh, May,
June.
May. It'll
Oh,
be, yeah.
May.
Hmm.
Oh, congrats on what? That's really good. You guys are almost nearing 2 years together. That's really good.
Yeah, thank you. I love her so much.
Oh, that's very. Wait, did you say him?
No, I said her.
Oh, oops, I'm sorry. I thought you said him. I'm sorry.
It's all
My
good.
bad. My bad. So, y'all make sure to check out the new album. Do it. Do it. Do it. Don't be losing on check him out. He's actually really amazing. Especially on social media. Um, God, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. It was a treat to meet you and to do this is so exciting. So exciting. Congrats again on the new album. We'll all be sure to be tuning in and watching. We're so excited. It's gonna be incredible, and we're all gonna love it so much.
I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we're so excited, and y'all make sure you have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all. Have a good one. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight as we dove into a wonderful podcast episode. Now, in this following segment, you will get a chance to hear this artist's showcase because every artist that comes on the show requires to do a showcase. So, buckle up, get some popcorn, and enjoy the showcase. I hope you guys love it, and check out the artist when you get a chance to. Hope you guys love it. Enjoy.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. When it comes to words, my niggas told me hit 'em where it hurts. I told my niggas put 'em in a hearse when I'm finished. I had to hurt the feelings first. To set the position way below the dirt, little nigga. You spinning off forbidden turf. I laugh when you slip up, you gon' do the dash, but we're quicker. My niggas putting in that work. I hardly condone it, but don't make it worse, silly nigga. I promise. I don't mention scores cause I'm modest. I still be chillin' in the projects. Been busy getting to the profit. And ain't no nigga finna stop it. I'm never tripping on who's watching. I'm on my block sitting proper. Sipping lagers, I'm bothered. Back then we ain't have all the options. You be pointing the finger and say you ain't snitching, little nigga, we know you was talking. There ain't really no difference, so most of these niggas in love with the clout and the drama. They'll laugh at they nigga in front of the bitches in front like they really some bosses. I be painting the bigger picture for my niggas cause I see their vision was foggy. Had to cut off the niggas that ain't send $1 or send me their number to call them. Remember talking to mom, she said I can make it, I just gotta stop with the nonsense. I was talking to labels and I went to jail and they took away all my offers. I ain't crying about it, I keep getting money cause that shit ain't stopping $1. I wish somebody would try to take something from me, I put it on broad
I'ma pop him. Every night in the street made a monster. Never stop it, just make me go harder. I've been ballin' forever like Carter. Call my lawyer, he beating the charges. Then I'm back in the view with my shotters. We ain't fighting about it, we shooting about it. Someone gotta die for the talking. Conversation with God, he told me to chill. He making a way from the bottom. Lil' bro made the news with that 44, but he don't know shit about Obama. He was skipping his class to be in the streets. I told him that shit was a problem. Like what kind of big homie would I be if I ain't try to give him the knowledge? If I make a call, then you getting lined up like I was cool with the barber. If I get the job, little nigga, your time's up, I'm running down with a chopper. If he try to run, then I let it bang, then I get up close and pop him. Cause niggas be pussy, they hit his shots, then lay on the floor like a possum. I don't gotta write, I hop in a booth and give him the truth when I'm talking. All that dissing in your songs gon' make you a target. They overlook me, I never care, cause nigga, I know I'm the hardest.
Yeah. Whoa. Niggas know I'm the hottest. I'ma spit it, no auto. Listen. Now, who's hot, who not? Tell me who's an op. Tell me if you shot him. Let me know if I said get him, then you got him. I don't need a nigga itching for a problem. I just need the strange. Turn them into Zaza if they get to talking out the empty pockets. I ain't in the gang. One of us is honest. That don't mean a thing when you're cool with monsters. Follow the flow if you can. Like Solo, I'm older than a man. I got these hoes in my hands. Do you know how many times I done died and then rose again? Don't ask if they know, cause I know that they know who I am. Like damn, Zeus, he did it again and did it pretend. My reign is never finna end. I told you I'll stick to the win. That butterfly shit, I was sinking in the gutter life list, but I did it rough for cover. Stay committed like my mother grinding. You thought I was gonna suffer, trying to tell me that I'm done for trying. Looking like a bunch of puddles. Now look at how big my fucking tide is. Shit is priceless, I'm laughing it off while smoking my pack and it's strong. Who'd you name after that? Is he gone? Cause if not, then it won't be for long. That's according to my brothers, you know that I trust them. I'm never questioning a bond. If they end up in a cell, we never gon' tell, just gon' try to pay off the bond. What did you think? The real ones will give a fuck what you say. They'll spill blood if you run up with the fakes. Can feel numb with a gun in your face. Your bullet kissing once they pull it, nigga. If you shook it, then you better stay in your place. That's why I'm winning while you're busy spinning. I was never with it, don't you play with my safety. Always out the way, focused in my lane, so it never could've phased me. If you wanna play, get up with the gang and I'll let them all go crazy. They love me way more than you hate me. I felt like I needed to say it. So fuck your feelings, they won't be considered till you all admit it. I'm the greatest, yeah, nigga.